Ciao a tutti e bentornati, io sono Manu di Italy Made Easy and I'm going to answer the third question that came from Italy Wise, a great blog to help you prepare and get all the information to move to Italy, which I'm sure many of you are thinking about. So, let me approach the microphone. I've already answered the first two questions, and the question I'm answering now is this. What would you advise as being the short list to focus on initially to help build a sense of confidence? Great question, and I have the answer for what I believe is the best thing to do, because that's what I do with languages when I learn them. I didn't do it with English, and I still regret it. At the beginning, when you're starting, because a language is such a big project, you want to get results quickly. And the easier way to get results is to focus, especially for Italian, other languages not so much, is to focus on two things and then a third one. Like the two things that are easy is vocabulary. Just learn as many words as you can. Now, don't just learn random words or the ones that Duolingo suggests, like the elephant drinks the water, but there are lists of the top frequently used words in each language. So if you Google top 2000 Italian words, you will find a list of the most frequently used words in Italian. You want to learn those. That way you can understand a lot more, because people talk about things, and if you know those words, then you understand what things they're talking about. Now, of course, that's not enough, but start with vocabulary because it's fun. You can use apps like Quizlet or Memrise. They train you to recall words, so they're really good. As you're expanding your vocabulary, the very first thing that I would suggest you do for Italian is that you get the pronunciation right. Get the sounds right. It's going to make such a difference when you compare yourself with your non-Italian studying friends. And when you hear them say stuff like bruschetta, and then you say in your head, it's bruschetta, and you sound really good, you will feel you will feel great, right? Or maybe you've already been to Italy, or you are in Italy right now, and your non-Italian student friends say things like, I don't know, buongiorno, and then you go and say buongiorno. Makes a huge difference to you in terms of how proud you feel about your Italian, but then it makes a difference for the Italians listening to you because they actually understand you more easily. The third thing that I would say you want to get out of the way is grammar. I don't believe in the approach that says ignore the grammar, because we gotta use the grammar even when we don't want to study it. It's the same in English. When I say it's the same in English, I've said that because I know that that's how you put it together. So you're gonna have to know it in Italian, but just don't go crazy and wanting to become a master and academic in grammar. You don't need to. I say that in 3 months you should be able to have read a whole grammar volume or have been exposed to enough grammar for you to know the basics. If it's not 3 months, maybe it's 6 months, but get it out of the way. Once you know you have a strong foundation, then you can always go back and you can come to me for help in deciphering something that it's not quite clear, or there are ways to perfect it, but just get it out of the way. The one thing that I would suggest you don't worry too much about is syntax, meaning word order. In most cases, it's the same. I know in many cases it's not, but don't worry about it. Don't think that your Italian is terrible because your word order is not right. Italian is quite flexible in terms of where you put the blocks, so even in the event that your order wasn't right, I betcha that the Italians understood you. They won't understand you if your pronunciation is not right. If you mispronounce your vowels, they're gonna get lost. If your grammar is really, really bad, then they may not understand your meaning, what you're trying to say, but in terms of structure, you shouldn't worry too much about it. Also, don't worry about the exceptions. Every language has exceptions. Who cares? Speak with the basic stuff that you're learning. People will understand you. Over time, you will realize that, they actually say it in a different way, but they still understood you the way you said it, so why not? Keep going. Then you'll pick up the way they are saying it, which means the same thing, but it's just the way they say it. So don't worry about the exceptions. They're just exceptions. There's too many to worry about them. Also, don't worry about sounding cool, sounding modern, or sounding witty, which is the hardest one for grown-ups, because there's a big difference in the things that we can say in our native language. We can make intelligent remarks, we can be funny. When we learn a new language, we can't really do that. So you will miss your irony, you will miss your humor, you will miss your wittiness. Yes, make peace with that. Don't look for it at the beginning of the journey, because you don't have it, and it's going to discourage you, it's going to depress you if you focus too much on that. So that's what I would suggest anybody approaching Italian to do. So that's my answer. So next question that I'm going to answer in the next video is this. This is the long version. What do you see as being the most frequent missteps when a person begins learning Italian? I'm curious about your perspective on this as an Italian. For example, I've experienced people not understanding the importance of basic respect and politeness in greetings and interactions. I'm sorry, but I know that Jed wrote these things as comment to me, but I want to share them for you to understand the implications of the question. So hope Jed doesn't mind. I cringe, he says, when I hear some people say ciao to a complete stranger, for instance. I think a lot of Americans have seen too many movies and caricatures of how Italians speak and interact, and then play those out when they attempt to speak Italian themselves. And yes, it's true. It's not, Jed, it's okay to say, because it is true. I see it in my daily life at the university when I teach, and when I interact with learners of Italian who are English speakers. The movies haven't really made them a favor in learning Italian, because the caricature takes over, and I have a video actually telling you how to avoid that as well. So that's the question, and it's in the next video. Ciao, ciao!